Where slurry is available, we would be recommending to go back to feed that ground with your P's and K's in the form of slurry. Where slurry might be a limiting factor, we would be recommending relatively strong compounds such as maybe your 18-6-12 or your 10-10-20 to give to feed back the P and K.
Hello and welcome to the Beef Edge, the Teagasc Beef podcast, for all your latest news, information and advice for Irish beef farmers. I'm Catherine Egan, and on this week's episode, I'm joined by DairyBeef500 advisor Tommy Cox to get an update on the DairyBeef500 programme and an insight into the National DairyBeef500 walk on the farm of Jarlath and Austin Ruane, County Mayo. Tommy, you're very welcome. A big change in weather in the past few weeks. How are farmers managing grass at the moment across the country?
Look, there's a welcome drop of rain over a lot of the country. I suppose got a welcome drop of rain, and that has really kicked on grass growth rates. Grass quality had deteriorated fairly significantly on a lot of farms right around the country in recent weeks during the particularly dry period. So, quality starting to come back into grass. Farmers, are taking out, they have the confidence now to take out surplus grass for bales, or maybe even go in with a topper on a few occasions and just clean up any stemmy material. And that's improving grass quality. So they're getting the fertilizer out as well, Catherine. So grass growth is bursting on the majority of the farmers that we're dealing with. And
for the fertilizer, what are farmers going with this round?
Yeah, look, it depended on what they went with on the last round. Some farmers that mightn't have got an opportunity to get out compound, they're going with compound, and other farmers then we would be working with would be going around with maybe 20-25 units of protected urea.
And for farmers that are taking out surplus paddocks, what fertiliser are they going back on those paddocks?
Yeah, look, where slurry is available, we would be recommending to go back to feed that ground with your P's and K's in the form of slurry. Where slurry might be a limiting factor, we would be recommending relatively strong compounds such as maybe your 18-6-12 or your 10-10-20 to give to feed back the P and K.
I suppose all the calves are weaned on the DairyBeef500 farms at the moment. How are they being managed at the moment?
Yeah, so weaning. Look, at the majority of calves they're weaned on all our farms. Yeah, so look at grass. Trying to keep quality grass in front of them is the big thing. At this stage, the majority of calves would be transitioned to the grass diet. So any issues around summer scour syndrome, etc., you'd hopefully think that at this stage they'd be out of the way and the transition would have taken place, so to be acclimatized fully to the grass-based diet. Some farmers where grass quality is high and where there's adequate amounts of grass, they would be scaling back the amount of concentrates to, especially maybe the heavier group of calves. So I suppose a lot of farmers would be they're in the process of putting in a mid-season weight on their calves, and where calves, a heavier group of calves, they will be reducing back the concentrates. And look at maybe if the weeks and months go on, there might be a possibility of actually taking out those concentrates.
That's great, Tommy. And I suppose the National Open Day for the DairyBeef500 programme is taking place on the farm of Jarlath Ruane in Mayo. Can you tell me about the farm?
Yeah, so Jarlath and his father Austin operate a dairy calf to beef system. They're based just outside Corbally, which is located in Claremorris and in County Mayo. The farm itself, traditionally it probably was a store to beef operation, and in recent years, past 5 or 6 years, they have went down the route of dairy calf to beef operation. They're also running a lowland sheep flock there, compromising of around 40 to 50 ewes. Every year they purchase, they started off at a smaller scale, they started off at 10 or 15, but in recent years they're purchasing approximately 80 calves, and they're being reared through to beef annually on the farm.
And what type of calves are they sourcing?
Yeah, look at the calves bought in. They're a mixture of Holstein Friesians, Anguses, be some Herefords, and then some continental breeds such as Limousin and Belgian Blues. And they all go on to be finished at various different ages. Some of them go on to be killed off grass after the second summer, 20-21 months. Then probably a larger proportion of them would go back to the shed and to be killed out with the shed at close to 24 months of age, and then the remainder would go back out to grass and they'd be slaughtered off grass, from now on, under 30 months of age. But that would be a relatively small proportion of them.
And for stock that's been finished on the farm at the moment, how are they being managed?
It's actually a unique system. The full group of animals is being run together. So any animals, they'll be going back out to grass that'll be over 2 years of age. They're run at the year and a half. So they're all run as one big group. and as they become fit, they'll be drafted and slaughtered. If grass quality or weather deteriorated, that they were finding them animals slower to finish, they might introduce segregate them and introduce meal.
You mentioned the 3 different systems being operated on the farm, Tommy. What's the difference in the margin across the 3 different systems?
Look, I suppose, Catherine, the majority of the animals are going to slaughter at 24 months of age. Look at the first cohort, to be slaughtered at slightly lighter weights at a younger age, but they're obviously, there's a lot less expensive in them. So the financial side, they will be the most profitable. But look, with dairy calf to beef systems, you're not going to get all your animals slaughtered at that younger age. So there is a certain proportion, and we'll have to go back into the shed. The Ruanes, just to boost the stocking rate, they're letting the lighter group, the poor performing group, out to grass. 10 or 11 of them. They're probably not getting as high a weight gains on them, but they're getting a carcass at a relatively a cheap cost of very little meal input, and at a good time of year when there might be a lot of cash flow on the farm. So look, at economics wise, the earlier group finished at 20-21 months of age off the grass after with no second winter is the most profitable, but that's not going to be achievable with your full cohort of calves.
The overall health management of the animals on the farm, what's the health programme this time of year?
Yeah, so this time of year, look, at to be regular monitoring, fecal sampling for worms. Probably would be your main area of focus. So the farm will be regularly taking fecal samples, and they'll be monitoring counts. And if counts are detected in excess of 250 eggs per gram, antihelminthics or dosing would be administered. With regards lungworm, which is probably becoming an issue at the moment on farms, that'll be monitored, by herding animals, looking for or listening for signs of a husky cough or bits of coughing when running, or heavy or difficult breathing in animals. That would be the main way of monitoring the lungworm. So that's probably the main herd health protocol on the farm at the moment. And then there would be a vaccination policy for calves when they come onto the farm as well.
And this is the first national DairyBeef500 walk being held in Mayo, Tommy. What can farmers look forward to seeing on the day?
Yeah, so on the day, what we'll be looking at will be the improvements made by the Ruane family on their farm in regards to technical efficiency. Both Jarlath and his father Austin would be excellent grassland managers. There's a very, very extensive network of paddocks, and which some of them are serviced by the roadways. We'll be looking at the Ruane's calf sourcing policy and how that has changed, how they've significantly reduced the numbers of calf sources, and how that has improved their animal health and overall animal performance on the farm. We'll be looking at how these improvements in technical efficiency have improved live weight gain on the farm, and that in turn has reduced the age of slaughter across the farm. And it has also improved the financial performance of the farm. There is plans also on the farm, further investments needed on the farm to account for the extra animal numbers. So there is plans in place to improve infrastructure with regards to the construction of a new slat accommodation unit for cattle. So we'll talk to the plans that the Ruane family have in place for the construction of that shed. And we'll also look at maybe the grants available around the new TAMs, etc., which farmers can avail of.
Sounds like a very interesting walk, Tommy, and farmers can look forward to attending on Thursday the 13th of July at 6 p.m. and there's further details on the website, and I'll include the link in the podcast text.
Okay, thanks very much, Catherine.
That's all for this week's episode, and my thanks to Tommy for joining me on the show. You can catch up on all other shows and interviews from the Beef Edge podcast on the Teagasc website at teagasc.ie, or you can listen on Apple and Google Podcasts as well as Spotify. Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe so you never miss a show. For all other updates from our beef programme, keep an eye on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Until next time, I'm Catherine Egan, and thanks for listening.